Things have been bad when it comes to COVID for some time, but they are rapidly spooling up for what is going to be an absolutely devastating December, following a devastating November. So I want to give you a little bit of information coming out of a source that isn't necessarily predisposed to be very sort of clear and honest about the threat that we're facing. But in this case, it is difficult to argue with the evidence. The White House Coronavirus Task Force says the COVID risk to all Americans is at a historic high. The national daily COVID incidence after Memorial Day, but before the summer surge, was fewer than 25,000 new cases a day. And it scared us at that point, remember. It's now more than 180,000 new cases a day. We actually passed 200,000 in the last report. COVID inpatients that then were fewer than 30,000, but they're now more than 90,000. We actually passed 100,000 since this report. Fatalities have more than doubled. We're in a very dangerous place due to the current extremely high COVID baseline and limited hospital capacity. And to buttress that, Dr. Birx says this is as a result of the insane in every definition of the word travel that happened over Thanksgiving. Says if you were under 40, you need to assume you became infected during the Thanksgiving period if you gathered beyond your immediate household. Most likely you will not have symptoms. However, you are dangerous to others and you must isolate away from anyone at increased risk for severe disease and get tested immediately. And there might be many people who came out of this last weekend thinking, hey, I don't feel sick yet. I guess we dodged a bullet. No, you could still very much be asymptomatic. You could be spreading it. You need to be incredibly careful for the next 2 weeks because there are so many people, potentially millions of people that are now walking around having been exposed by their family gatherings, maybe in the same state, maybe they've traveled back to other states that are going to be infecting people over the next few weeks. And the numbers are already devastating, and it's only going to get worse from here, Jason.
Right, I agree. Well, I'm in Florida right now, which as of today, as we've gone to air today, which is December 3rd, over 1 million cases just here in Florida. I'm in Miami-Dade County, which has had close to 2,500 new cases in 24 hours, right? And that's up from 1,000 a couple of days ago. That's just here in Miami-Dade County. Also, Broward County, which is north of Miami, also has had 2,000 new cases. So it's just people aren't taking this seriously. And the argument is now because we've been in the pandemic, almost 10 months now. It'll be 10 months that we know what we need to do. We know how to stay safe. We know that we need to wear the mask. We need to social distance, etc. But with the holidays, people feel like we've suffered enough, and this is not an excuse. I'm just trying to wrap my head around people's thought process. That we've suffered enough in 2020. Let us have this time to just have some levity and be jovial. But not everyone is on the same page of okay, we can be lax but still be vigilant in what we need to do to protect. Me and my hubby go to a beach on Saturday mornings where it's socially distanced, and there's still people. No one's wearing a mask. People are drinking. They have forgotten that this is still a problem. So they predicted this, John. They predicted this back in the spring. They said there was going to be a second wave. That this was going to be a dark winter. Winter was absolutely coming, and now it's here. And what, you guys are in Los Angeles, and Mayor Garcetti just announced new stay-at-home, safe-at-home orders. I think over last night, which
just last night.
For Los Angeles is a huge blow to the city that was trying to reemerge. And again, this doesn't just impact healthcare, as you mentioned about the hospital systems being overflooded and not being able to take care of the sick, but also people that are unemployed, people trying to go back to jobs, people trying to go back to work, people trying to have a livelihood or return to a livelihood or some form of that prior to COVID. It's a domino effect that affects so many different things. I don't see us emerging from this and I hate to be ominous and dark, but I think we're in this for another 2 years, even if there is a vaccine coming.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that could help the most, other than people complying with. 2020 is the worst year, but it is also the year that we saw the purest crystallization of what America is. America is a country that can be affected by a crisis, and despite it having more resources than any other country has ever had, and all of the knowledge necessary to defeat the crisis, we choose not to.
Right. And that, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, so Los Angeles is now shutting down, and so we had started to have in the last week or two reduced hours, or maybe they shut down outdoor dining. A lot of places around the country probably aren't experiencing this again, so they don't know. They may think, oh, a lockdown. Sure, there's been lockdowns. No, supposedly this is don't go outside in LA. Like a city of more than 10 million people, stay inside unless you absolutely have to, because so many people are getting sick. California yesterday reported over 20,000 COVID cases. That's according to the COVID tracking project. I think Johns Hopkins says we had 28,000 just in California in one day. And overall, we talk about COVID a lot on this show, and I know that people probably get sick of it. They certainly, based on my experience on YouTube, they don't watch these videos. So clearly they've stopped caring a long time ago. But I want to put it in perspective for people, because this has been a lot of months and it might start to blur together and you just think, well, yeah, things have been bad, but I want you to understand how much worse it's getting. So we initially had some lockdowns in a lot of parts of the country, and they lasted for, depending on how conservative your area was, 2 weeks or a month or 2 months. So once they'd effectively all been removed and almost the entire country had started to go back to normal, in June, we lost 30,000 people in that first month after the restrictions were lifted. Last month, we lost 95,000 people. It is getting so much worse. In terms of how many people are getting it, in June, the positivity rate for COVID tests was at 5%. Since then, we're doing way more tests, okay? Which according to Trump means you're gonna find cases, but it also means if things aren't actually getting worse, that the positivity rate will decline because you're doing so many more tests, you're gonna catch all these people that don't have it. 5% in June, it was 11.3% nationally in November. It is getting so much worse. And if anything, like a significant portion of the country cares 5% as much as they did in June or in July.
Right, it's maybe that's because there is a malaise when it comes to COVID. As you said, people are tired of hearing about it, right? They're not watching videos. It's been this traumatic experience for everyone. However, it's the reality of what's happening is that it's happening still. And John, I lean on, even myself, my husband's always like, Jay, when you go out, wear your mask, make sure you take your mask, and I'm not around a lot of people all the time because I'm at home all the time. When I'm out, I'm in open spaces walking my dog. But it's just we have to stay vigilant and we have to stay aware and not get lax on what's happening just because we're sick of hearing about it. It's become our reality to the point of where it's background noise, COVID, quarantine. It's just become like, oh, okay, yeah, it's there, it's whatever. It's like paying your taxes, it's gonna happen. But that type of mentality is a reason why we've had, as you just said, those spike in numbers everywhere. And LA being the first to roll back and have these more strict and restrictive stay-at-home orders, that's gonna be this rolling action, I think, across the country. Florida, and the reason why Florida probably hasn't experienced it yet is because we're so down south. But we are constantly hearing Florida in the news for the day-over-day rise in COVID cases, just in Miami alone. 1 million cases in Florida. It's crazy. It's crazy, but people are hard-headed. They don't care. They're over it. That's what they say. The people are over it. And it's like, okay, well, when your family member is gone because you're over it, or you're in the hospital on a ventilator with something down your throat because you're over it, let's talk then.
Yeah, and like I've said on the show, I lost a family member in Florida, by the way. It is serious and people do need to take it seriously. I think we will see a wave of closures, but I don't think it's gonna be all over the country. I think the Republican mayors and the Republican governors who didn't want to do it back when, in theory, shutting down could have helped Trump win re-election. The idea that now with Biden, he's gonna be the president, I don't think they're gonna care at all.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.